right, hi everybody. My name is Sarah. I work at the Big Sky Documentary Film Festival. We're a 10-day film festival in Missoula, and we play all documentary films, which is pretty cool. We've got a great one for you today. It's called Robert Mims, the Texan Bull Rider, and we have the filmmaker here, Doug Hancock, who's really excited to talk to you guys, and I will let him come in and introduce himself.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Doug Hancock. I'm from Amsterdam in Europe. I'm a filmmaker, and I directed and shot and edited this film that you're about to see, Robert Mims, the Texan Bull Rider. I was lucky enough to get to meet Robert, who's a cowboy based in Texas, and I had seen a commercial he had been. Oh, it sounds like we might be there now.
Go ahead and finish your sentence. Yeah.
Anyway, so I was fortunate enough to make friends with Robert via Facebook, and I was very excited to meet him because he's a very friendly chap, and a wonderful bull rider as well. So I was very fortunate enough to meet him and make a film about him. So I had spent 2 weeks in a car with him, driving from Texas to New Mexico and Utah and various other places to rodeos where he and several other cowboys and cowgirls perform in rodeos, in small town rodeos, and that's where he sits on a bull and for between 6 and 8 seconds is thrown around the place like a with incredible force of his bulls, and he rides the bull like a dancer, and himself and his other riders have to stay on the bull and dance with the bull, and so they have a very good understanding of the nature of the bull as well, and I found that really fascinating.
I think we can do this.
Yeah, okay. Good
Let's
luck.
see.
My name's Robert Mims. I've been riding bulls 43 years, loving every minute of it. My neighbor was a bull rider. His name was Cooter Kenny. Cooter would go off to work cattle in the daylight. Me and my brother would sneak across the fence to ride his cattle he had pinned up in his corral. One day he come home and me and my brothers who took off running. And I got halfway home, I turned around and went back. It was like facing the demon. What are you boys doing? Yeah, I want to be a bull rider, sir. He laughed a little bit. He said, you can't ride bulls like that. You gonna show me how? I was a smart little brother. And he said, yeah, I'll teach you. And the next day I come over early like he told me. He handed me a shovel and a rake. I was only 9 years old. I cleaned stalls, I shoveled shit.
It was in his blood. So his grandpa used to ride bulls. My daddy rode bulls. He did all right. He was a hard-headed little boy.
I'm just going to tell it like it is. You know, he's not a sissy. He's not all about bulls. I mean, that's his life, but everybody knows Robert Mims. Everybody knows that man right there will give you the shirt off his back. When you walk in this house where he was born and raised, you instantly know where he got it from. I'm very blessed to have met this family, to be a part of this family. It's a lot of love, a lot of heart.
That buckle's a symbol of a guy that went all year long. He earned that there. I mean, man against beast.
say hi to everybody. He'll mingle. But Robert is in tune with his bull. He'll be with the bulls more than the cowboys or bull riders. He respects them as, you know, the beasts that they are.
Bulls are like people, you know. I'm fun to be around, happy-go-lucky. But one day if I wake up and I'm pissed off at the world, hey, I'm pissed off at the world.
Basically what you're doing is keeping in motion with the bull. It's 80 to 90% mental. The other 10 to 20% is muscle memory. All bull riders have a different style, you know, whatever fits them. Robert's style of bull riding is confidence.
I get tapped off. Tapped off is mean you get in time with the animal. I get in time with the animal quicker than an average cowboy. Well, I used to. The average cowboy sit there and wait and wait. While they're sitting and waiting, I'm already feeling it. And I'm jump for jump, and both of my legs come out. When you feel something that's right, it's right.
The first time I got in the chute with a bull, when that gate latch opened up, it was like, it went in a slow motion, but it went in a fast motion. Everything was a blur. And then all of a sudden you're on the ground and you're going, wow, this is cool. I want to do this again.
As soon as I sat on that bull and straddled him, I literally felt why these guys do it. You're getting on this beast and you just have to take that deep breath of, wow. He got me ready, told me where to focus at one point on that bull. Get my hand under there, hold as tight as I can, squeeze tight with my legs, bear down. As soon as they opened that gate, he did his couple hops and I thought I was on top of the world. I did what, one or two hops then? I came off the first one. We picked out another one. Came out of the chute on that one. He slammed me down and broke my collarbone. And I broke out in sweat from head to toe and I said, yep, this ain't for me.
Now, bulls' weights. 11, 12, 1,500 pounds would be your smallest bulls. You got these bulls like that Mississippi hippie. And this bull, longer than a standard SUV, fed right, bred right, they outweigh this little car. To land a certain weight every time and come back in that same motion over and over again, that's athletic stuff. They all got their own little torque. And it's not supposed to be a bull that can't be rode or a cowboy that can't be thrown. And the only way you're going to work that out is to get on his ass 2 or 3 times. I mean, you're riding this bull in your dreams before you actually get on it.
We put ourselves in harm's way. If someone's going to get hit, it's preferably going to be me. They're going to hook you or peel off and turn away from you. Oh, Robert Mims, he ain't got no quit. He's cowboy. If he's on, he's going to stay on one. He ain't jumping off or bailing out. He's there to ride.
I've been blessed not to get hurt bad. My worst injury did my crack sternum. That's small compared to a lot of these guys breaking necks, breaking back. Bull stepped in my right calf. There's just a hole in my leg. My buddies get a fish that they close that hole, stop the leaking.
I got a pin and everything in my jaw, right side of my face being crushed, femur bruising. It's part of the game.
I thought I pulled a groin, turned out like it's a hernia. I ain't none of them things to kill you, but I couldn't walk. I laid on my couch for a month. I walked like a damn robot. I wouldn't move, turn right, left, right, because I didn't even try. I guess I got scared. I watched, 3 shows. Next thing you know, I'm burning my rope. I'm not even entering the damn show, and I'm burning my rope in the house and stuff. She come on, what are you doing? That's the time. About damn time, you know. Sometimes we need that little push, and I needed a little push, and she pushed me.
I don't want people who know him, the legendary bull rider Robert Mims, I don't want them to look at me like, oh, she made him quit. You know, I don't want that. And he laughs at me and jokes and teases, but it's all real. You know, that's what he does. That's his life. To just be relaxed, enjoy what you have, what God gave you, and stop stressing. Stop being somebody who you're not. I can be myself. This man right here helped me love myself for who I am. I don't have to get all frilly and makeup and fancy clothes. This is me. He's got a heart of gold, y'all, and it scares me to death. My worst fear is that's how we're going to lose him, just by a bull.
The bull riders we're the glory hounds.
This rodeo world, all cowboys, I mean, got a good bond. I mean, we got all good connection. We always help each other out when needed. There's definitely a bond there for sure.
I'm going to say hell yeah. Any one of us needs each other. I don't care where they're at, Texas, Nebraska, California, where they're at, I would come to their rescue. It's a very close-knit family. Bull riding is about being a cowboy, riding the bulls, enjoying what you're doing.
You got different color athletes out here now, riding bulls, running barrels, the whole 9 yards. They're starting to give these guys credit for what they're doing instead of the color of their skin. That's been the biggest change I've seen since me going to East Texas and couldn't win nothing but second place. You take like when I moved to Montana, this is in the late 90s. I mean, I would actually have people come up to me and rub against me instead of saying hello. I knew they was rubbing against me to feel my black skin, to see if it come off. I just laughed my ass off. Nah, it still ain't gonna come off. Wait a minute. Oh, look at the palm of my hands, you know? This world's changing. You either change with it or you stay behind. Live your life and treat people like you want to be treated. You always gonna have that knothead. I mean, I'm sorry, he's gonna always be there. Sometimes you gotta fight. I was a fighter growing up. I love to fight. But I I'd rather walk away from you today. I don't turn my back on you, but I will walk away. Robert don't take everybody up the road. It's a blessing that he took me. It took me 2 whole years to finally figure out why he was calling me up the road. You know? I got a gift. There's something he see in me that I don't see in myself, you know. Being a bull rider, it's a lot to it. It's just not getting on bulls every day. Or just going to the bars with the straw hat on and your belt buckle. It's more to it. You gotta really want to do it, you know, because like I say, any second, any moment, it could be your last bull ride. It could be your last day on this earth. Yeah, riding bulls giving me the opportunity to see the world. I've got some damn good friends out of this here. Man, I've met people that I would never meet before, speaking language I still don't understand yet, but I would call them my friends. Rodeo's been around ever since them 2 ranching boys figured they could outride each other on horseback. Bull riding's gonna be around forever. Just gotta get more kids that want to do it. I mean, that's it. They just gotta develop your body and your mind to do what we do. Any Joe Blow could get on, but Joe Blow ain't gonna stay there.
Okay, let us get this. This is great because I did not bring my glasses over.
Oh,
okay,
that's all
just keep talking.
So I hope everyone enjoyed that. We've got time now for some questions, and but I'd like to start by asking the first question, if I may. I'd like to know if anyone has been to a rodeo or has been on a bull. Oh, look at those hands coming out. That's excellent. Okay. I would. I'm open for questions now. If anyone has a question about the technical stuff about filmmaking, or about questions about the film itself.
Oh, we have lots of hands up. Let's go to Cut Bank to start with. Go ahead, Mrs. Homegun.
Would it hurt to be punctured by the bull? Or, like, do some of them have horns?
Do they have horns?
Can you repeat that? You were cutting out just a little bit.
Come back to me.
I think it was a question about the bull's horns. They do cut the bull's horns, and so they, in order to protect the rider. But it doesn't hurt the bulls in the slightest. The bulls are well respected and looked after very well, like racehorses. So as a result of that, they want to protect the riders as much as possible, though.
No, honey.
Great. How about another question from Cut Bank?
Wait a minute. How long did it take you to make the film?
Okay, that's an excellent question. It took me 2 weeks to shoot the film, and that's called the production phase. And then after that came the post-production phase, which is editing. And the editing took a week. There was 2 days for color grading the film, and 1 week in a sound studio. as well. So in total, it's probably about a 4 to 5 week process.
Great. Let's go to Ms. Shortman's class in Zenith and see if you have some questions, and then we'll come back to Cut Bank.
Say it. Somebody read this.
Why did you choose bull riding?
Ah, very good question. Why did I choose bull riding? Well, it's a subject, I'm from Europe, and we don't have bull riding in Europe. So it's a subject I knew nothing about. And when I like to educate myself by making films, so that's one of the reasons why I chose bull riding. The second reason is I'm interested in the interaction between the rider and the bull, and the understanding and the mutual respect that happens between the bull and a bull rider. So that's the second reason. And the third reason, it's a fun thing to watch. It's over very quickly, but in the process of 8 seconds, a lot is going on, and it's a great spectacle, and therefore that's why I chose bull riding.
Great. How about one more question from Ms. Shortman's class?
Noah? Noah, did you try it?
Did you try it?
Well, to be honest, no, I didn't try it. I'm too scared. You really need to know what you're doing, and there's a training program for riders, and so safety is very important, as it can go wrong very, very quickly. I had to carry the camera, so that was my excuse.
I'm wondering if any of our students that are watching, I know you're both in pretty rural areas and even Bozeman, how many of you have tried riding a bull or a horse that isn't broken, or maybe even just mutton busting with sheep? Anybody?
Wow, look at those hands.
Yeah, okay.
That's excellent.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Okay, let's go to Bozeman. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. What kind of camera do you use?
It's I've got an Ursa Mini Pro, so that is a digital cine camera, and that's is basically, you know, it's a robust, strong camera that can survive cold and hot and cold temperatures without breaking down. And I was shooting also with just 2 lenses, a Sigma 18-35 cinema lens, and a $10 lens, which is a 105mm Nikon lens. I literally bought it for $10 in a market in the south of Holland. Yeah, it's a great camera though. I thoroughly recommend it. If you're thinking about ever buying a camera, the best thing to do is to rent them from camera rental companies, and you know, therefore you don't have the great expense of a single camera. If you're shooting, if you have a project and you're getting paid for it, on the other hand, and you want to save money, then sometimes it is a good idea to have your own camera and own equipment. Generally speaking, if you can try borrowing from friends or from camera rental companies, that's my advice to people.
Great. How did you get started, Doug, in filmmaking?
Okay, I started actually as an editor, or actually prior to that I was a runner. That was in London at a company called the White House, and my sister heard there was a job going as a runner in the White House, and I thought I'd have to go to Washington, but actually it was the White House company in London, where they do a lot of editing of commercials and music videos for famous artists, and they work with wonderful film directors as well. Michel Gondry, who's a wonderful French film director, he's a friend of my sister's, and so there's a great opportunity there to learn the craft of editing. And as a runner, you're basically running around making cups of tea for directors and various other people. But in the process, learning how to become an assistant editor to the editors. I eventually landed a job as an assistant editor in the same company. And I was the assistant to a lady called Jinx. Jinx edited Man on a Wire, which did very well. And together we did a lot of editing of BBC documentaries and various other films. But she took me under her wing and taught me to edit. And editing is an important part of the filmmaking process. So now when I'm carrying my camera, I feel that I'm also editing at the same time in my head, so I know what I need to shoot. I know what the essential shots are that I need to tell the storyline. So it can save a bit of time, and it's a wonderful way into filmmaking. Actually, editing is great.
Great. Let's go back to Cut Bank and see if they have a couple questions.
Go ahead. Why exactly were you interested in bulls?
Very good question. I think bulls are enormous creatures. If you have ever, has anyone here ever stood next to a bull? Safe distance, hopefully. Okay.
Oh
good.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, these people who are putting their hands up will know exactly what a bull sounds like and smells like even, and the scale of a bull interests me. They are incredibly strong creatures, and they're they're well respected throughout the world for their work they do for farmers, of course. Obviously for other reasons as well, providing food for us. Bull riding is really something that is so unusual for a European to watch. We sit there and I don't know, has anyone here heard of cricket, the game of cricket? Well, it's an English game. It's a bit like baseball, but it's very complicated. And if you watch cricket and you don't know the rules, you'll be scratching your head. And in the same process, I've never ridden bulls or met any bull riders. So I was scratching my head and thinking, well, why are they doing this? And what is the reason for themselves putting themselves on a bull and the perceived danger as well, of course, associated with being on a bull. So that interested me, and that's why I focus on bull riding.
Great. One more question from Cut Bank.
Why did you choose Robert for the documentary?
Okay.
Bull rider.
Well, I got to know Robert because he's an ordinary man who does extraordinary things, and he's quite a famous bull rider. Within his, he's a world champion, a 2 times world champion bull rider, so he's quite famous. And I got to know him, and I chose him because of his intelligence, so his charm. I thought I'd never actually met him by the time I came to America, so it was a bit of a gamble in terms of not having ever met him, but through correspondence via email and the telephone, etc., I understood he was a very nice person, a very generous spirit, and intelligent, and that's why I chose him.
Great, good questions. Let's go back to Zenith. Do you have any questions?
Where does the bull rider live now?
Well, Robert is currently on his way to Missoula from Billings, but he lives in Texas most of the time. So that's in a place called Bryan College Station. It's about a 2-hour drive from Houston, and But he works in other parts of the country. I think at the moment he's been working in Montana as well, doing some pipelining work. So,
we were hoping he would be here, but he got stuck in a snowstorm,
yeah,
and so he's not going to be here. He's not going to be here till later on today.
Yeah,
so
it's a shame.
That's too bad. It would have been great to meet him also. Great. Do you have another question, Zenith?
Do you have another question? Some of these students go out in the barn and ride cows and calves.
Wow.
But does he wear a helmet?
He does. He wears a helmet for sometimes, most of the time. The thing about when he realizes the bull will have an unpredictable nature, he'll wear a helmet. And for the most of the time, he wears just a hat, to keep the sun off his head. But if he suspects the bull to be dangerous and unpredictable, he'll wear a safety helmet. He also wears a vest, a reinforced vest that will protect his ribs, and various other small bits of equipment like cowboy boots and but that will protect his feet somewhat from a stamping bull. But occasionally he does get hurt. It's a very dangerous pursuit, and in the process of filming, well, you'll see in the film, someone made the mistake of opening the gate to the rodeo arena too quickly, and that resulted in a rider on the bull, a man called Julius, who went into the pen still on top of a bull and was pinned between a bull and the fence, which was very dangerous. And fortunately, he got out okay, but it was a very close thing. Also, there was another cowboy who really hurt his leg in the process in one of these rodeos as well. I think he broke his leg in 4 places. So it was, it's not something that is to be taken lightly. You should do it properly with the the correct safety gear and with the right teachers. That would be my recommendation.
Great, thank you. How about Bozeman? Do you have any more questions for Doug?
Yeah, I do. Sorry for the music if you can hear that. That's a little obnoxious.
No
That's okay.
Let's start off with what editing software do you use?
Okay, I use Premiere Pro, Adobe Premiere Pro.
Yeah, that's the same thing that I use.
Yeah, and I would recommend also considering, because Adobe Premiere Pro has all sorts of other associated programs with it, like Audition for doing mixing, for mixing music and audio. You can do that within the program itself, of course, but you can be more accurate with Adobe Audition. Then there's also another program quite separate, which also has a great editing tool, is Resolve. And it's from, I think it's DaVinci who make Resolve, but it comes, it's $200. Which is basically absolutely ridiculously cheap compared to what it used to cost for software. When I first started out, you'd have to spend $50,000 on equipment in order to edit. Now you can do it on a laptop with virtually free software. Especially as students, you can get very good deals from Adobe, but also from this DaVinci Resolve, which started off as a color correction program only, and has now included editing tool, which is really good, and also a really good audio mix tool as well.
Great.
So yeah, for me, there are other choices. I used to work with Avid a lot. But Avid feels a bit like a dinosaur now. by comparison.
They outdate fast. Doug, just to sum up, because I think we're going to be out of time in about 5 minutes or so. If these students were interested in finding a really good story to tell with a film, what were some of the steps, or what are some of the steps that you take to really find really good stories?
Okay, well, that's a very good question. I think you need to start by having a conversation with someone. And I think, actually, everyone in the whole world has an interesting story. And so my advice would be to talk to someone you trust. It could be a brother or a sister or a friend, and have a discussion about their life that could be provide an interesting lesson for other people, your friends, to explore and see another part of someone's personality. I always think the best films for me are the ones that are honest, that respect the subjects and the people you're interviewing, and I think you can apply that process to almost anyone on the planet. I think there's wonderful stories out there. There could be about bull riding, or it could be a story about friendship. It could be a story about a dog. There's all sorts of interesting storylines that basically, in today's, the world can be quite a busy place, and for me, I enjoy settling down to watch a film that slows life down a little bit, that I can gain an insight into someone's life that otherwise I wouldn't have had the privilege of gaining. And I think a good filmmaker is someone who, like I say, respects, answers, does a bit of research on the subject by asking questions, which is the same process as having a conversation. So, borrow a camera by all means from a friend or from a camera rental place. The whole process is out there. There's lots of tutorials on YouTube and Vimeo and various other places. But I would. It's a matter of starting a conversation.
Great. Let's have one more question from Cutbank, and then we'll go to one more question in Bozeman, and then I think we'll be about out of time.
Okay.
So let's go to Cutbank for one more question. That's you.
So, have you ever been up close to a bull?
That's a very good question. Yes, I have been up close to a bull, but there was a big heavy fence in between me and the bull, so that was close enough. I have a friend who was very close to a bull. I took a friend of mine with me, who's a photographer, and he was one of the bulls decided to get out of the pen. Try to, and he stood on his hind legs and got very close to my friend, to the point where my friend turned round and this bull's face was right in front of his, which gave him a bit of a shock. But no, I've been very close to a bull, but with a fence in between. So
that's good.
Yeah, it was safe.
That's good. One more question from Bozeman.
Okay, so this is kind of an oddball, but what's like your favorite effect tool to use in Premiere Pro or any software?
Okay, very good question. Well, I like the film emulating software. So I forget the name of the plugin, but essentially it emulates film. And before the days of digital cinema, in fact, many productions in Hollywood are still shot with film cameras using 35mm celluloid. And film has a wonderful dynamic range and colours that look lovely and beautiful, but it has imperfections as well. And a lot of people have been trying to emulate those imperfections, because sometimes digital cinema can be quite flat and doesn't really have an aesthetic character. So my favourite tools are ones that sometimes emulate celluloid film.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, Doug, thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you, students in Cutbank and Bozeman, for being here. I hope you learned a lot and got to see a great movie.
Yeah.
So thanks so much.
Thanks very much.
And we'll see you next year at the
Okay.
Documentary Film Festival.